Well, Tioga State Bank is located in the southern tier of New York. And we're kind of halfway between New York City and halfway between Buffalo, kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's a beautiful area. We have a lot of rolling hills, very rural. The trees here are spectacular in the fall when the leaves are changing. My family has been living in Tioga County for about 8 generations. The bank was started in 1884 by my great-great-grandfather, M.D. Fisher. The bank was originally called the Farmers and Merchants Bank of Spencer, New York. So when my grandfather started the bank, he had a number of other businesses in the community, including a dry goods store. So we have here is an early advertisement. So these are my great-great-grandfather's initials, M.D. Fisher. He put this on the wall in 1877, so it would have been before the bank was even founded. Rumor has it he had the dry goods store, but he started the bank because he was tired of getting paid in chickens and wanted to get paid in cash. My parents live right down the street from the bank in Spencer, New York. They're about 10 to 12 houses down from where our main office is in Spencer. And my grandparents lived even closer. They were probably about 7 or 8 houses from the bank on Main Street. 5 generations of my family have been running the bank, and it's kind of neat that we've been here for 5 generations. I'm not sure how many families have a 5-generational business. My journey was a little convoluted because growing up, if you'd asked me in high school or college, I would have sworn I was never coming back to Spencer, New York. That was never part of my game plan. I grew up with the dream of becoming a pilot. I've always had a love of flying and aviation. I mean, I loved the Air Force. I had a great time flying. I got married to my wife, who we had met in college, but we got married when I was in the Air Force. We both decided that, to start a family, it was probably a kind of a good opportunity to look at coming back to my hometown and starting at the bank and starting a career here. I love to go fast. I have a few fast cars that I enjoy driving. I've always kind of had that need for speed. In fact, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. My first car that I purchased was a 1995 Porsche 911. We're about 45 minutes from Watkins Glen, New York, which is one of the most fantastic tracks in the country. Driving on a track is just, it's fun, it's exciting, it gets your blood pressure up and just your adrenaline going. So as a navigator in the Air Force, I always had to be prepared for all possibilities. To have maps to go to alternate air bases, to land if there was an emergency. I had to be thinking 2 to 3 steps ahead before I was making a turn. Having that ability as a community bank, we're small, we're agile, and I think that really helped us with PPP to help businesses in our community to get needed money, needed funds, that lifeline that they needed. As a small community bank, we could make those changes at a moment's notice and help our customers.
Thank you for calling Tioga State Bank. This is Judy. How can we help you today?
Community banking, our business models are completely different than the big bank model. Big banks are all about transactional volumes and customers as numbers. They don't have those deepened relationships that community banks have. Community banks, we are committed to our customers, committed to our communities, and that's why, hence the name community banks. The relationships that we form with our customers, those customers, they're not just customers, they're friends, they're family, they're neighbors. It's great to have that connection, to see them in church, see them when I'm at the store. It's just a unique feeling. I love going to visit our business customers and see the many unique things and unique business lines that they've found to make money, and it's fantastic to go visit these customers and they're all so proud of their businesses. I love the idea of community banking because we take local deposits and we reinvest those dollars back into loans in our local community. It's tremendous to see that recycling of the money and helping to help our community grow and become a better place. ICBA is a tremendous support for community banks. Just like community banks are caretakers of our community, ICBA is the caretaker of community banks. They help make our lives better. They help us with advocacy, education, and innovation. And those things are all critically important for us. Our mission statement is to create and promote an environment where community banks flourish. I'm really excited to start my year as ICBA Chairman. And some of the things that I'd like to encourage other bankers to participate in One big thing is financial literacy. It's so critical to help children understand the need for basic financial literacy in this country. Our bank, we go out into our schools every year and help do some high school education to help kids understand how to balance a checkbook, the importance of maintaining a credit score, keeping your credit score high. So I'd really like to encourage other bankers to carry on this. I mean, I think there's some tremendous things that are happening out there with financial literacy, but I'd like to encourage us to even step up our game and do more. Financial innovation is so critical to community banking. I've been part of the ICBA Think Tech Accelerator program for the last year. It's just a fantastic program. They're trying to help us develop high-tech, but also high-touch relationships with our customers. We need to continue to look at other ways to adapt that technology to stay on that cutting edge. Another priority that I have while I'm chair of ICBA is to continue our fight against the credit union industry. For me, this is a multi-generational battle. My dad actually brought one of the first lawsuits against the credit union industry back in the early 1980s. It was on the shared draft accounts, and credit unions were able to pay interest on checking accounts while banks were not. So ICBA instituted the Wake Up campaign to help raise awareness and help educate both consumers and lawmakers on the inequity that is currently out there between community banks and credit unions. ICBA even started a credit union task force internally to help with this fight and help to come up with some new techniques and tactics. Because this is a battle that's been going on my entire banking career. We need to continue the fight though, so that banks across the country can have a better shot at competing fairly with credit unions. None of us fear competition. If you give us a level playing field, we'll fight all day and win. Another priority that I have as chairman this year is to get better member engagement. I think if our members are engaged and passionate about some of these fights, we will prevail. When you're fighting on behalf of a great mission, it's hard to lose. I'd like to focus on some of a common sense tiered regulatory framework for community banks. We are relationship driven. We are focused on helping our communities, and having a bifurcated regulatory system that addresses how we do business would just be so helpful to help us focus on our mission of serving customers with relationship-based products and services. Having a risk-based approach to tiered regulations that are more common sense would help all of us in our daily lives and focus more on the business at hand of helping our communities, helping our customers. I'm really excited to come into the chair of ICBA. I'm humbled, I am honored to be able to serve the greatest industry in this country. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would be sitting here today as I'm heading into the chair of ICBA. That was never part of my game plan. It's fantastic, and I'm just really excited to have this opportunity to serve and to help community banks from around this great nation. We have such a unique industry, and it's just so exciting to be able to help community banks and to help push the organization as we go forward.